Stop and think. Who really cares about how you feel? How many times have you been completely broken inside, silently hoping someone would notice, waiting for someone to see your pain and reach out a hand? Now face the truth. No one feels your pain the way you do. No one ever will. That might sound harsh, maybe even unfair, but reality doesn't care about what you think is fair. People have their own problems, their own pain, their own daily battles. You might be screaming on the inside, begging for someone to understand, but the world won't stop to comfort you. And the worst part? You expect it to. You expect someone to look into your eyes and just know without you having to say a word. But that expectation is a recipe for suffering, because it's not going to happen. You can spend your entire life resenting this truth. You can feel wronged, betrayed, forgotten. But none of that will change the fact that your pain is yours, and yours alone. The sooner you accept that, the sooner you set yourself free. What you're about to hear could change your life, but only if you're willing to face the truth. No excuses, no self-pity, no waiting for the world to hold your hand. If you're ready, let's begin. And the first thing you need to understand is this: no one feels your pain the way you do. No one feels your pain like you do. Have you ever noticed how some pain seems invisible to the world? You could be falling apart inside, yet everything around you stays exactly the same. Traffic moves, people post pictures, smiling. Life doesn't pause to give you a break. And that's when the harsh truth hits you. No one feels your pain the way you do. No one ever will. People may care, they may show compassion, but they will never carry this burden for you. Because this pain belongs to you, and you alone. That doesn't mean the world is inherently cruel, it just means that everyone is too busy trying to survive their own battles. Think about it. While you're struggling to deal with your problems, someone close to you might be fighting a battle you don't even know exists. Do you really expect the world to stop and understand you? Do you think the people around you will feel what you feel with the same intensity? That illusion will only lead to frustration. The sooner you understand this, the stronger you become. The sooner you grasp this, the sooner you stop waiting for saviors and start becoming strong enough to carry your own pain. This doesn't mean being cold, indifferent, or isolated. It means taking control. Now, let's analyze a character who perfectly embodies this mindset. Many people interpret Thomas Shelby as emotionally detached, unfeeling, incapable of experiencing emotions. But that interpretation is wrong. He feels everything: pain, grief, anger, fear, but the difference is that he doesn't let those emotions dictate his actions. If there's one thing that sets Thomas Shelby apart from most people, it's his ability to keep himself from being consumed by his own emotions. He doesn't deny his pain, but he doesn't surrender to it either. Instead of seeking sympathy, he seeks solutions. Instead of complaining about fate, he shapes it with his own hands. This is why so many see him as cold. But the truth is, he understands something most people refuse to accept. The world won't stop to accommodate your feelings. Thomas Shelby is not indifferent to suffering, simply knows that suffering, on its own, solves nothing. While most people search for excuses, justifications, or someone to blame, he takes action. He feels, but he refuses to be a victim. He suffers, but he never surrenders. And this mindset is evident throughout his journey. Pain is not an excuse. Thomas Shelby could have every reason to be a broken man. He carries the trauma of war, has lost people he loved, has been betrayed countless times, and has faced challenges that would destroy most. But he never allows suffering to become an alibi for inaction. On the contrary, hit life throws at him, he strikes back with strategy and strength. The death of grace. This was one of the most painful and defining moments of his story. Losing the love of your life would break anyone. He could have collapsed emotionally, drowned himself in alcohol, or spiraled into total self-destruction. But he didn't. Thomas feels the pain, but he doesn't let it paralyze him. His grief is expressed in silence, in an empty stare, but never in weakness. He doesn't scream, doesn't ask for help, doesn't try to make the world share his suffering. He just keeps going, because he understands that life won't give him time to recover. Betrayals. Thomas Shelby harbors no illusions about blind loyalty. He knows that in the world he operates in, people will always act in their own self-interest. When betrayed by Alfie Solomons or even by members of his own family, doesn't react impulsively or with uncontrolled emotion. He doesn't waste time dwelling on the unfairness of the situation. Instead, he sees betrayal for what it is, just another move on the chessboard, and rather than lament it, he uses it to his advantage. The weight of war. The horrors of World War I haunt him. He carries deep trauma, insomnia, and disturbing visions from the past. But once again, he doesn't use any of it as an excuse for weakness. The world isn't going to give him peace. If he wants to keep standing, he has to create that peace within himself, and he does that through self-control. The world won't stop for your pain. The harsh truth that Thomas Shelby understands and that most people refuse to accept is that no one is going to fix your life for you. People might pity you, they might offer words of comfort. But at the end of the day, you're the only one who can fight your own demons. If he let himself be consumed by suffering, his empire would collapse. If he stopped to cry over every hit life threw at him, he would have never become the ruthless leader he is. What sets him apart is not the absence of emotion, but the ability to act despite it. He doesn't deny his feelings, but he also doesn't allow them to make him vulnerable. He doesn't waste time trying to change what he can't control. Instead, he adapts and finds solutions. The truth is harsh but real. No one cares how you feel. The world only responds to what you do. Thomas Shelby understands this better than anyone, and that's why he keeps winning. And when you take control of your own life, you'll realize another truth that most people aren't ready to face. The world has never been fair, and it never will be. Let's talk about that now. The world is not fair, and that's normal. One of the biggest things that destroys people is this naive belief that the world should be fair, as if there were some invisible scale ensuring that good people get rewarded and bad people get what they deserve. That's a lie. The world has never been fair, and if you're still waiting for it to be, you've already lost the game before you even started. Think about it though. Many good people have you seen suffer for no reason? How many terrible people have you seen succeed without deserving it? It happens every day. The thief who gets away, the honest worker who dies with nothing, the traitor who prospers while the loyal suffer. This isn't the exception, it's the rule. Now, when faced with this reality, you have two choices. First, you can spend your life complaining about how unfair things are, playing the victim and waiting for the world to magically fix itself. Second, accept the truth and strengthen yourself to play the game the way it actually is, not the way you wish it were. Because here's a fact no one tells you. It's not the world that needs to adjust to you. You need to adjust to the world. You can hate this reality. You can scream, complain, and resist it all you want. But none of that will change the fact that no one is going to hand you anything just because you think you deserve it. So if you want something, go get it. If you want respect, earn it. If you want money, create value. If you want to win, stop waiting for permission. The world isn't fair. It never was. It never will be. And the sooner you accept that, the sooner you stop being just another person whining about fate and start becoming someone who actually does something about it. And do you know who understood this before anyone else? The Stoics. In the next section, you'll discover how this philosophy can be the key to finally breaking free from the grip of injustice and actually living. The Stoic perspective, the philosophy that sets you free. If there's one philosophy that faces reality head-on without excuses, without illusions, it's Stoicism. While most people spend their lives complaining about how things should be, the Stoics understood something that changes everything. It's not about what happens to you, it's about how you respond. Think of a soldier in the middle of a war. He can hate the battlefield, curse his enemy, and rage against his fate. Or he can accept where he is, harden his mind, and fight with everything he's got. The first dies complaining, the second survives. That's Stoicism in its purest form. The great Stoics of history, Seneca, Epictetus, Marcus Aurelius, all understood that expecting the world to be kind is an invitation for disappointment. They knew that life doesn't bend to our wishes. They knew that suffering is inevitable, that injustice is the rule, and that control over the world is nothing more than an illusion. But instead of complaining about it, they accepted it. They accepted that pain is part of life, that loss is unavoidable, that the world owes no one anything. And more than that, they discovered the ultimate secret to winning this brutal game called reality: absolute control over their own emotions and reactions. Epictetus was a slave. He didn't choose that. But instead of raging against a fate he couldn't change, he strengthened his mind to the point where no one could ever control him again. Marcus Aurelius was an emperor, with all the wealth and power in the world. But he knew none of that made him invincible. He understood that suffering and injustice reach even the most powerful. That's why he chose to prepare his mind for any adversity. And Seneca? One of the wealthiest men in Rome, yet he taught a lesson few have the courage to live by. Be prepared to lose everything at any moment, because one day you will. Stoicism is not a philosophy for the weak. It's for those ready to take full responsibility for their own lives. Because in the end, the only thing you truly control is yourself. And if you don't control your emotions, then your emotions control you. In the next section, we'll explore how the Stoics mastered this and why you should do the same. Mastering your emotions. If there's one thing that destroys most people, it's not pain, it's not injustice, and it's not challenges. It's the inability to control their own emotions. Have you ever seen someone lose everything because they couldn't control their anger? A relationship fall apart because one person couldn't manage their jealousy? Someone throw away a life-changing opportunity because they let fear take over? It happens all the time. People with the potential to succeed, but who sabotage themselves because they are slaves to their own emotions. The Stoics understood that a person's greatest enemy isn't external, it's inside their own mind, and this enemy takes many forms. Despair when things go wrong. Anger that makes you act without thinking. Fear that paralyzes you. Sadness that keeps you stuck in the past. Anxiety that steals your future. Now, think about what happens when you lose control of these emotions. You become vulnerable. And if you're vulnerable, anyone can manipulate you. Any bad news can break you. Any failure can destroy you. The Stoics refused to live that way. They trained their minds to be unshakable. How? Simple. By accepting that not everything can be controlled, but their reaction always could. If someone insults you, you have two ways to respond. First, get angry, yell, fight back, and sink to their level. Second, stay calm and recognize that no one has power over you unless you give it to them. If something goes wrong in your life, you have two choices. First, complain, play the victim, and drown in self-pity. Second, accept it, learn from it, and keep moving forward. Stoicism teaches that you can't control the world, but you can control yourself. And once you master that, no one holds power over you, no insult can shake you, no failure can break you, no loss can paralyze you, you become unbreakable. But to get there, you need to let go of something that's been corroding your life and making you weak, the victim mindset. And that's exactly what we're going to talk about next. Stop playing the victim. If there's one thing that keeps people trapped in a miserable life, it's the victim mentality, the belief that the world owes them something. Here's the harsh truth. No one is coming to save you. No one is obligated to make your life easier. No one is going to fix your problems. But what do most people do? Complain, blame others, hide behind excuses. I can't succeed because I had a tough childhood. The government is corrupt, so I'll never make it. My boss doesn't appreciate me, that's why I'm stuck. People don't give me opportunities, so there's nothing I can do. Enough with the lies. The truth is, as long as you see yourself as a victim, you'll never move forward. Do you know why? Because victims don't take action. They wait. They wait for luck to change, for the system to change, for other people to change. But do you know who actually wins in life? The ones who take full responsibility for themselves. You can keep crying about how hard life is, or you can look in the mirror and decide that it doesn't matter what happened, it doesn't matter what they did to you. It doesn't matter what you've lost, you're going to get up and fight. Because in the end, there are only two types of people. First, the ones who use their struggles as an excuse to fail. Second, the ones who use their struggles as fuel to win. Who do you choose to be? The decision is yours, but understand this, no one is going to feel sorry for you forever. The world moves on, and if you don't do something for yourself, you'll be left behind. So stop complaining, stop blaming others, accept your reality, take responsibility, and do something to change it. And if you don't know where to start, here's a secret. The pain you feel today can become your greatest source of strength tomorrow. In the next section, we're going to talk about exactly how to turn that pain into power. Turning pain into strength. Pain can either break you or make you stronger. The choice is yours. Everyone suffers, everyone. But the difference between those who rise and those who sink is simple. What do you do with that pain? You can use it as an excuse to quit. You can sink into victimhood, complain about life, and blame others. Or you can take that pain and turn it into your fuel. Think about the greatest winners in history. How many of them had an easy life? Steve Jobs was abandoned by his biological parents, dropped out of college, got fired from the company he built, then came back to revolutionize the tech industry. Michael Jordan was cut from his high school basketball team and told he'd never be great. J.K. Rowling wrote Harry Potter while broke, depressed, and raising a child alone. Nelson Mandela spent 27 years in prison but walked out stronger than when he went in. Elon Musk was constantly bullied as a kid, nearly died from malaria, and went broke after investing everything into Tesla and SpaceX. And yet, he never gave up. Today, he leads some of the most innovative companies in the world. Do you know what all these people did? They took their pain and turned it into strength. Pain can teach you. It can harden you. It can give you a reason to keep going, but only if you decide to use it that way. If you've suffered, use it to grow. If you've been betrayed, use it to become wiser. If you've been rejected, Use it to get stronger. If people have underestimated you, use it to prove them wrong. The pain you feel today can be the foundation of your greatness tomorrow, but for that to happen, you need to stop running from it. Most people want to numb their pain. They want to avoid discomfort. They want to ignore what hurts, but it's exactly what hurts that has the power to transform you. Stop running. Face it. Embrace your pain. Learn from it. Turn it into strength. And most importantly, use that strength to take action, because understanding all of this means nothing if you don't actually do something about it. In the next section, you'll learn exactly how to apply this to your life. How to apply this in real life. Knowing these truths isn't enough. If you don't put them into practice, nothing changes. Most people hear a powerful idea, feel motivated for a few minutes, and then go right back to their same mediocre routine. Don't be one of them. If you truly want to be strong, you need to turn this mindset into action. Here's how you can do that in real life. First, stop complaining immediately. Every time you complain, you put yourself in the role of a victim, and victims have no power. Next time something goes wrong, instead of whining, ask yourself, what can I do to change this? If I can't change it, how can I use this experience to become stronger? No excuses, no drama, just action. Second, expose yourself to discomfort every single day. If you avoid discomfort, you weaken yourself. Strong people embrace what's difficult because they know that's what makes them grow. Start with small challenges. Take cold showers to train your mental resilience. Wake up earlier than you'd like. Do something that scares you, like speaking in public or having a tough conversation. The goal is simple. Prove to yourself that you can handle anything. Third, control your emotions before they control you. If you explode with anger, freeze in fear, or sink into sadness, you don't have control over yourself yet. And if you don't control yourself, you'll be controlled by others. Next time you feel a strong emotion, stop. Breathe. Observe. Ask yourself, does this really deserve my reaction? Or am I just letting my emotions take over like a slave to my feelings? The Stoics practiced this daily. They never acted on impulse. You can learn to do the same. Fourth, accept the worst case scenario and keep moving forward. What scares you the most? Failing? Being rejected? Losing everything? Now imagine it actually happens. And then realize you'd still be alive. You could still start over. The Stoics practiced this constantly. They called it premeditatio malorum, the premeditation of evils. They prepared for the worst, so nothing ever shocked them, nothing ever broke them. If you accept that you could lose everything and still keep going, you become unstoppable. Do you want to be strong? Do you want to be someone who can't be shaken? Then stop just consuming these ideas. Put them into action. And when you do, you'll discover something most people never understand. This is real freedom. In the next section, we're going to talk about exactly that. True freedom. Most people think freedom means doing whatever you want, whenever you want, no rules, no restrictions. That's an illusion. Real freedom isn't external, it's internal. It doesn't matter if you have money, status, or even power if your mind is still a slave to your emotions, to other people's judgment, or to external circumstances. If you need approval from others to feel good about yourself, you're not free. If fear of failure paralyzes you, you're not free. If other people's opinions control your decisions, you're not free. If you react impulsively to every provocation, you're not free. Now, think about the opposite. If criticism doesn't shake you, you're free. If setbacks don't make you panic, you're free. If you stand firm, even in the face of the hardest challenges, you're free. The Stoics understood that true freedom doesn't come from controlling the world, it comes from controlling yourself. Because the truth is, you will never have complete control over what happens around you. People will disappoint you. Problems will come out of nowhere. Bad things will happen without warning. But if you have control over your mind, none of it can break you. Epictetus, one of the greatest Stoic philosophers, was a slave. Yet he was freer than most people who had wealth and power because he understood that self-mastery is the only freedom that truly matters. If you want to be truly free, stop looking for freedom in the outside world. Find it within yourself. Now that you've made it this far, there's only one question that really matters. What are you going to do with this? You have a choice. You can turn off this video and go back to life exactly as it's always been. You can keep complaining, waiting for the world to treat you better, hoping things will get easier. Or you can face reality head-on and become someone truly strong. Let's recap the truths you learned today. No one feels your pain the way you do, so stop expecting compassion and take responsibility. The world isn't fair, and it never will be. Complaining won't change that, but getting stronger will. The Stoics understood this and lived by it, and so can you. If you don't control your emotions, you're a slave to them, so master your mind. Playing the victim destroys you. Choose to be the protagonist of your own life. Pain can be your greatest strength if you decide to use it that way. Real freedom isn't about what happens outside, about what happens inside, because when you control yourself, you're no longer a prisoner of circumstances. Now, the choice is yours. You can keep living the way you always have, or you can apply these principles and become unshakable. If this video resonated with you, drop a comment and tell me which lesson impacted you the most. I want to know what really hit home for you. And if you're serious about growing and want more content like this, subscribe and turn on notifications. Here, we don't talk about comfort. We talk about real growth. The decision is yours. React or keep being controlled. Grow or keep making excuses. Whatever you choose, remember, the world isn't going to stop for you. So either you get stronger or you get crushed. Life belongs to those who are ready to face it. Are you?